Welcome to this overview for achieving certification for cold-form steel framing members under the Code Compliance Certification Program developed by the Steel Framing Industry Association. Under the SFIA program, a manufacturer certifies that the designated steel framing product it produces meet or exceed the requirements of the appropriate building codes and standards. The program also emphasizes quality assurance and quality control procedures related to the manufacturing process. Certification is mandatory for SFIA membership. From the date of joining SFIA, a manufacturer must apply for certification for each manufacturing facility within 30 days and achieve certification within 180 days. An independent third party, Intertech, is the program administrator and verifies conformance with program requirements. With that background on the program, the rest of this video will focus on the certification process for a manufacturer joining SFIA for the first time. We'll go over the application process, the quality manual, the initial facility audit, what happens as a result of the audit, and when you can start using the SFIA certification labels. We'll also touch briefly on some of the benefits of certified product. Note that the objective of this video is to illustrate the process or major steps in the program versus describing detailed requirements. Participants in the program should refer to the official program documents for specific requirements. The initial step for a manufacturer is to submit the SFIA membership application, available at www.cfsteel.org. The SFIA Executive Director, Larry Williams, will then contact applicants with the application for the Code Compliance Certification Program. He'll also provide the program requirements, help develop a quality manual, and will generally be available to guide manufacturers through the process. Typically, the Executive Director will set up an initial web meeting with the applicant to review the program steps and answer questions. Once initial certification is achieved, the SFIA Technical Director, Patrick Ford, is then available to coordinate with ongoing issues. Perhaps the most important step in the application process is development of a quality control and assurance manual for each facility, often simply called the quality manual. SFIA has developed a template that can be used as a model for this purpose. The quality manual is submitted to the program administrator with their program application for approval. It is important to know that an initial audit cannot be scheduled until any deficiencies in the quality manual are addressed to the satisfaction of the program administrator. With proprietary or EQ studs, the application must include the following additional technical data: physical properties data, screw capacities, ceiling span data, and non-composite and composite limiting wall heights. One point before we move on to the facility audits. In order to gain approval in the program, all applicable products in the plant will need to be marked in accordance with the appropriate standards. Otherwise, the auditor will record this as a notice of non-conformance during the initial audit. Within 90 days of approval of the applicant's program application, an initial facility audit will be scheduled by the administrator. Note that the initial audit is announced, whereas subsequent semi-annual audits are unannounced. Audits are performed during regular business hours. As a manufacturer, you'll need to provide the administrator a list of normal business hours, including a schedule of all plant or facility closings and shutdowns. You should notify the administrator of all emergency or unscheduled closings as soon as possible. The manufacturer is responsible for any charges if an auditor arrives for an unannounced audit when the facility is closed and the auditor has not been notified. Also, a notice of non-compliance will be issued if an inspection is refused. A designated contact at the plant will be responsible for working with the auditor during audits. The manufacturer is required to identify at least one secondary contact. If neither contact is available, the auditor will work with the available facility personnel. Any person assigned this task needs to be familiar with all production and quality control processes and have full access to all areas requested by the auditor. An audit can take the better part of an entire day, so the contact person will also need to be available for the same amount of time. The contact is required to let the auditor start the audit within 15 minutes of arrival on site. It is important to reserve a conference room, office, or other area to meet with the auditor before the audit and for use by the auditor as a base during the various stages of the audit. The auditor will return to the room throughout the day to enter data and prepare for the next steps. At the end of the day, the auditor will meet with the plant representative to go over any issues uncovered during the audit. It is important to keep all documents up to date and submit them to the administrator in a timely manner, because during facility audits, the auditor will first review the quality documents and other written materials. Each facility capable of producing products must have on file a physical copy of their approved quality manual, program reference documents, and measurement equipment calibration documentation. The auditor will then head to the areas where product is manufactured and stored for verification tasks. He or she will randomly identify samples from existing inventory for product verification measurements. These are non-destructive measurements of the dimensions, bow, flare, and similar product shape characteristics. Product markings are also verified at this stage. 3 samples of non-structural members and 3 samples of structural members will be selected. The manufacturer is responsible for removing the selected members from the inventory and subsequently cutting test samples from them under the observation of the auditor. The members used for dimension checks are typically the same members that are cut to size for the samples that will be sent to a laboratory for confirmatory testings of base steel thickness, mechanical properties, and coating. The manufacturer is responsible for packaging the selected samples. The auditor must witness the packaging and has the responsibility to ship the samples to the accredited laboratory designated by the administrator. After the samples are selected, the auditor will request documentation tracing the samples to a mill certificate or other documentation. SFIA has prepared a separate video on traceability that has more information on this subject. At the conclusion of the day, the auditor and plant contact will sit down to review the findings of the audit. The auditor will leave behind written signed notes about the audit that include a discussion of any issues of non-compliance or deficiencies and required timeframes for addressing these issues. Note that these notes represent a preliminary summary. After the audit and lab testing is complete, the administrator will submit a comprehensive official report of the auditor's findings to the manufacturer. The official audit report will contain comments and decisions with respect to compliance or non-compliance. The report will also outline any matters requiring clarification or corrective action on the part of the manufacturer. A manufacturer typically has 30 days from the date of receipt of the audit report to address corrective actions to the satisfaction of the administrator. A notification of failure may be issued if the initial application or initial manufacturing facility audit does not demonstrate compliance with all program requirements. This notice will be sent via next-day delivery service or electronic notification. The manufacturer will be requested to confirm receipt of any electronic notices. The notice will state the reason the applicant did not qualify and include a list of corrective actions. At the conclusion of a successful application and initial audit, the administrator issues a code compliance certification authorization, and the manufacturing facility is permitted to use the SFIA label. The administrator will subsequently conduct semi-annual unannounced audits to check for ongoing compliance. When a code compliance certification authorization is issued, the plant is included on the Certified Product Facilities list, accessible via the administrator's website. The list includes the manufacturer's name, facility address, and contact information. Hyperlinks to the manufacturer's website may also be included if requested by the manufacturer. Certification labels are ordered by the manufacturer from a printer identified by SFIA. The printer will require a copy of the compliance certificate with each order. By applying certification labels, the manufacturer is certifying that the products bearing the label comply with the program requirements and have been manufactured as good faith reproductions of certified products. Use of the labels must comply with all the program requirements. Once a manufacturer applies an SFIA label, code officials, designers, and others will know that they provide high-quality products meeting the rigorous requirements of building codes and standards. Manufacturers will also have use of the SFIA technical guide that provides limiting height tables for wall assemblies and are eligible to be added to 2 available code evaluation reports secured by SFIA for certified products. SFIA also continually markets the benefits of certified products through their website and other outreach efforts. Thank you for taking the time for this overview of the SFIA Code Compliance Program. For more information on the program, please contact the SFIA staff shown here.